Well, my busy 4 weeks of gardening are over, so I've completely transitioned all of the winter and spring beds to summer plantings now. When I say summer plantings, I mean things that are just going to grow through summer. Lots of them are for winter and autumn. We've had a good rainstorm, which is very unusual for us here in spring. Normally we don't have any rain in spring to speak of, but I think we had a good inch or so. And so lazy times are here, and normally it takes me a little bit longer than 4 weeks to do the transition, but this year just circumstances conspired to make it a little bit quicker than usual, and I'm not complaining. Anyway, I thought I'd celebrate by giving you a quick tour of the kitchen garden, and we'll do a tour of the allotment in a few weeks' time. So it's about 10 o'clock in the morning, so you'll get a good idea of light levels in the garden, which can sometimes be a bit tricky to manage, but generally I see as positive by comparison with the allotment, where everything gets way more sun, too much sun really, in summer. So hardly anything now. My little seedling bench, just a little few radishes and turnips, and these are all things for Debbie to plant, because as I say, I have finished planting. So just a few sweet corn and winter and summer squashes. These are all garlic, but they're all to be harvested green over the next few weeks. It always catches me out. I always end up with way too much green garlic, but it's such a popular crop. People don't really complain. Grapevine is bursting into life on the wall there. I just did the first pick of the lettuces in this bed, and so they're just regrowing. I'll give them another light pick in about 5 days' time, I guess. But I've got another bed that will have a hard pick. I generally do that, like do a hard pick and a light pick each week of lettuces. A little bit of a problem here. This is an onion bed, but it really should be interplanted with parsnips, but the first sowing of parsnips, not a single one germinated, so I got my money back on those, and I've sown some more, but they'll be a little bit late now. But anyway, we'll see how they do. So hopefully in a few weeks' time we'll see plenty of parsnips coming up there. Got little carrots in here. I think the variety is short and sweet, and those are just sort of snacking carrots for just when the kids come round, and grandkids and whatever, and me when I want to snack on carrots from the garden. The vast majority of our carrots are on the allotment, and I'll just put a little clip up of the summer carrots so you can see those, but we've also got autumn carrot bed and a winter and spring carrot bed. A few garlic there, doing okay. A few radishes and turnips intermixed in that bed, and then another bed of onions that should be parsnips. Again, waiting for those new sown ones to germinate. Just taken the colettes out of that bed and put that chard in there, and that is a very shady bed, but actually the chard seems to have picked up really nicely and it's growing on quite well, so quite hopeful that that will cope. But it won't cope in winter because that bed basically gets zero sun in winter, so I'll have to replant something else into that bed. There's a decent spacing in there, so I could probably get something in. And that is the next bed of lettuce, so I'll be giving that, I say, a hard pick, and that'll be its first pick of the year, interplanted with salad onions around the edges there. And I'll skip over here. So this is a salad onion bed interplanted with parsnips, so that's what the other one should have looked like. I need to thin those parsnips out, and really need to start harvesting these salad onions because we've got quite a lot. And another garlic bed interplanted with lettuce. those are hearting lettuce. It's a bit tricky to pick the lettuce in a garlic bed like that, but a hearting variety is just fine, since you only have to get in there once. And another lettuce bed, so that will be given its first pick in about 10 days, maybe, I don't know, 11, 12 days time, something like that. And at the back there, all the way along here, and where that outer row of garlic is there, that's where the beans are going to go. I don't plant my beans, runner beans and climbing French beans, that early, generally sort of early June, something like that, and then I can direct sow them. And the reason I don't plant them too early is just because I've got loads of beans growing on the allotment in the polytunnel. So, and I've actually got some in the garden that are ready now, which we've just started to harvest. And then all the way down here at the back of this chard, and left it in actually, just because although it's going to seed, we're still getting a few nice quality leaves off it. And the other new season chard isn't ready yet, so basically, you know, if I can get 2 more weeks off here, then the new season chard will probably be ready for its light pick. Last few spring cabbages, so all the spring cabbages on the allotment have been harvested now, and we've just got those 3 plants in there, I think, and they will be coming out at the weekend when we do the harvest, because we've got loads of brassicas now, so we've got no shortage. As I say, some more peas behind there, more peas, more salad onions. So I'm going to start harvesting these salad onions quite soon. It's interesting to see the difference in height of these, and that is because of the amount of sun that they get. This is just one of those locations where early in the year this end here doesn't get much sun, that end there gets a lot more sun, makes a big difference. Early in the year makes no difference now. Peas are looking quite nice, and then up here we've got hanging baskets, and we started these, had the first 2 months of life in the polytunnel, and then I took half of the hanging baskets out of the polytunnel and brought them home, and as a result they're all ready, and we've been eating them for ages now, and I really like them on here. And then I've just got a few oddments really down here, so I've got a few carrots, a few potatoes, a few baby leeks, just bits and pieces basically that I couldn't fit in anywhere else, but I'll probably be clearing most of this because these potatoes are quite early ones, as are these carrots. And I'll probably put tomatoes down here, and I'll be having tomatoes all the way down there as well, where that garlic is right now. And I've got new lights down here that illuminate this kind of path, and they look great. And I originally had solar ones, but they just don't come on early enough, so I've got mains powered ones now. It was a bit fiddly to fit them, but they do look, well, I like them a lot. So down here, we've got the strawberry bed. This is a new strawberry bed. I only just established it this spring, so it's a bit behind, but it's also behind again because this really doesn't get much sun early in spring, and now it's starting to get plenty of sun. And so these are going to start growing really rapidly again. The hosta, of course, doesn't mind not getting much sun. And then I've got blueberries and gooseberries, and the gooseberries were ravaged by sawfly this year. So we won't be getting many gooseberries off these, but fortunately we've got loads of gooseberries on the allotment and in the front garden, so I'm not so worried. It's nice to... This is one of the things I'm always going on about, is diversity of different varieties, different successions, different planting locations. Something always works when you've got diversity, and as a result we never go hungry. But this is starting to look quite pretty now, We've got a few flowers down here in these pots, and this bed was all field beans, and only a couple, well, last week actually, and so I've taken the field beans out now. We don't have any field beans left now, but we do have broad bean tops. And yeah, so I've got red cabbages, cauliflowers and calabrese down there. Raspberries are starting to look quite nice. I've got a little raspberry beetle trap, which is a bit low, should be a bit higher than that, but we do get a little bit of raspberry beetle on these plants, so I will get that moved. A few more little spare plants in here, and our little shady seating area. Well, it's not shady at the moment, but it's shady when we put the umbrella up. And I do need to give this cherry tree a bit of a prune, because it's going to get kind of in the way of people sitting down. But I've been waiting until kind of dry spring weather or early summer weather, because I don't want it to get disease. So in the conservatory I like to be plant free, but I sort of early summer, at the moment I've really just got the cucumbers in here and just a few tomatoes and bits and pieces, but it gets very hot in here in summer, so we really don't want plants growing in here. It just makes temperature management a real pain. But the cucumbers on the allotment, they're not quite ready yet, and these plants are harvesting somewhere in the region of 30 odd plants cucumbers a week. I just always seem to be harvesting them, and yeah, so I'm kind of waiting until the ones on the allotment are in full production before I take these plants out. So finally, the drive at the side of the house is starting to look quite nice. So I'll take a quick look at that. Well, the bins don't look that nice, but actually down here now it's looking quite good. So this is where we've got most of our potatoes now. So we've got quite a few down here, a few just kitchen herbs, and the trees and potatoes. And this is we are taking a little bit of a risk doing the potatoes down here, because they don't get as much light as they do in the back garden, but it just seems nicer to have them growing down here. It looks prettier, they're out of the way, and it's a lot easier to water them with actual rainwater, because we've got our rainwater collection here. So from most perspectives it's better to have them here. Also, I find that when they're in full sun in containers, they don't do really well, so maybe in partial shade for some of the day they'll do better. Maybe this will just be too much partial shade, we'll have to see. Anyhow, what we've got basically down here is mostly second earlies down this side, and main crops down this side, and we've got enough containers to harvest one a week until April next year. And we've got some on the allotment that we'll be harvesting again one a week until these are ready. So we have one a week all the way through the year. So we've got little cherry, apple, apple, cherry, 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 pear and cherry, and lots more potatoes. Now into the front garden, and Debbie's just replanted this. So we've got spinach here, kale here, celeriac there, overwintered onions, a late crop of green garlic, red cabbages around the edge here, and these red cabbages will obviously need more space, but those containers will move then. Got a little bit more kale there, some gooseberries down there, a mystery plant here, I'm not quite sure what that is yet, but I think it's a broccoli, calabrese, a bit more spinach there, flowers there, and then in that bed you can hardly even see them. We've got New Zealand spinach. It's not getting much sun at the moment, but it's just getting settled in. It'll take over that bed if it grows okay. Again, it's a slight experiment to see whether it will grow at fairly low light levels. I think this bed only gets sun for about 6 hours. And then finally in the kitchen we've got some moderately early tomatoes, which are not really that early, and some fairly early chilies. We've harvested the first ones off here, and so the second harvest is coming along quite nicely. You know, they're never going to be that productive just in these little pots in the kitchen, but they do look nice and provide a kind of nice sort of filtered view of the garden. I hope you liked this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.